can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Danny. We are in final prediction mode for the main event happening on Saturday, August 23rd at the Planet Ice in Altrincham. Jack Rafferty and Mark Chamberlain colliding for the British and Commonwealth super lightweight titles. Before we get into our predictions, if you're not doing so already, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel, like this video, and let us know in the comments your thoughts on this fight and how you see this matchup playing out. But I'll take it over to Danny now. So Danny, what is your final prediction? Rafferty Chamberlain, how do you see it playing out?
Tough one. Really looking forward to the fight, first and foremost. I mean, the August schedule for fights taking place in the UK, I think this actually might be the only one. There's certainly not much else, and it's a really good domestic fight. I think Jack Rafferty's flying at the minute. Really impressive wins. Looks very big, strong at the weight. Mark Chamberlain, obviously, with a bit to prove. With the Josh Padley defeat. Before that, he was sort of one of Frank Warren's sort of leading lights in the domestic scene. I was surprised when I looked at this odds and see Jack Rafferty is a pretty clear favourite because already he would look very good against Corey O'Regan last time out, forced a stoppage, but I don't think he has any wins really beyond English level. And I think stylistically, he's never really faced anyone with a punch, having a look at his record. And Mark Chamberlain can dig, prove that, wiped the floor with Gavin Gwynn, who went on to prove he had a lot left against Cameron Vong, arguably beat Cameron Vong, a lot of people think. So I'm going to go with Mark Chamberlain to win this fight, and I think he might actually get a stoppage.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I was looking at odds myself, and yeah, fairly handy favourite is Rafferty, so probably get some good odds there on Mark Chamberlain, particularly the stoppage. I'd say you get really good odds on that. Don't know them exactly off the top of my head, but definitely
9-2, 9-2.
9-2. There you go. Well, there you go. That if you're watching this and you agree with Danny, well, without turning it into a betting tip show, that's pretty good odds there. He'll only take a little bit of commission if you do put that bet on, I think. I'm actually going the other way. I always like when we have a bit of a disagreement doing the videos. I agree with everything you said. Can't really add much more. I think Rafferty he was kind of an unknown when he fought Henry Turner, wasn't he? And then looked quality. Was that on the Nick Ball, Ronnie Rios undercard or something? I recall,
I think it might have
possibly. And looked class, looked destructive on a knockout streak. Clearly heavy-handed himself, as you said, at a certain level. Mark Chamberlain has maybe proved that he's beyond that level. But I do actually think Mark Chamberlain was very underwhelming against Josh Padley. I know that was almost a year ago now. But only since then he had that tune-up, really. It went 8-rounder or whatever it was. And I think that I suppose inactivity. I know he's had that tune-up, but I don't think that's a great, that's not a great preparation for a Jack Rafferty, who I think is riding the crest of a wave right now. Yeah, do I think Jack Rafferty can go on reach world level and stuff? Probably not, but I think he's a very good domestic fighter. He's proved that he's British level, and I think Jack Rafferty wins this. I have an inkling that he could stop Mark Chamberlain. If it is going to come, I think it could come late on. Seems to have a really good gas tank, very fit. Jack Rafferty stays strong in the second half of the fight, as we saw with his stoppage of Henry Turner, kind of battered him from pillar to post, for want of a better phrase, before stopping him late on in the 9th or 10th. And I think he could do something similar here against Mark Chamberlain. I do think it'll be a lot more difficult. Mark Chamberlain, a better fighter, of course, than Henry Turner and Corey O'Regan as well. But yeah, I just have a feeling Jack Rafferty, it's the ball's in his court here, and if he performs like he has done recently, I don't see Mark Chamberlain being able to get in his way. There are kind of predictions, and one of us is going to be right, one of us is going to be wrong. But say your prediction's correct, Danny. What do you want to see next? Do you think that Mark Chamberlain would hang about at the domestic scene at 140, or do you think it's looking onwards and upwards?
There's no real names. Domestic level, 140. These two are it's a bit of a gap when you go away from these two. You're going to the likes of Khalil Majid, coming off a good one, of course, over Alex Murphy. That fight interesting potentially. I'd like to see the winner of this fight Pierce O'Leary. Pierce O'Leary, obviously, coming off fairly comfortable unanimous decision win over Liam Dillon, and yeah, I think that'd be a good fight. I think that was for the European title as well, so that'd be, as you say, do either of these two have it for world level? You would say, based on what we've seen, probably not, although both fairly young. But I think a step up to fight Pierce O'Leary, obviously signed with Frank Warren as well, would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, no word of a lie. I have that written down on my notes here as well. Pierce O'Leary is a fight that I would love to see. I
What we
think
do
Pierce
now.
O'Leary, like, there's a lot of hype about him, but then it's kind of stagnated for a while, kind of plateaued, not through no fault of his own, just maybe underwhelming opponents and stuff. I think he needs a big fight as well to kind of get that fire in the belly and see the best of him. And I think the winner of this against Pierce O'Leary, that's a cracking fight to make. Before we round off, how would you see that going? Say you're predicting Mark Chamberlain to win. How do you see him getting on against a Pierce O'Leary?
You know, I think you'd have to make O'Leary a favourite based on what we've seen. Dealt with, best name on his resume, probably Rafferty, you would say, and dealt with him very comfortably. Um, I thought beat Liam Dillon pretty comfortably as well. These two both better fighters, but I would make Pierce O'Leary a favourite probably.
Yeah, I could see Pierce O'Leary getting the job done against either of these. I think a fight with just stylistically with Jack Rafferty would be class. To be honest, I
Yeah, it
think that's
would.
what that would because it would make Pierce O'Leary's fight like maybe on the inside and stuff as well. So I think that would be a barnstormer if it were to happen. But yeah, we shall see. First and foremost, Danny and I are in disagreement. I've gone with Rafferty late stoppage. Danny's gone with Mark Chamberlain late stoppage. Guys, let us know in the comments your thoughts and who you think is going to get their hand raised on August 23rd. Will it be Chamberlain? Will it be Rafferty? Who will leave with the British and Commonwealth titles around their waist? As always, thanks very much for your time, Danny. Subscribe to the channel if you're not doing so already, guys, and I'll speak to you again soon. Cheers, mate.
There's